What's up, budget buddies? It's Kim. My identity was stolen in 2008. This woman attempted to hijack my entire life. Welcome to Debt to None. Let me finish telling you my story of my identity theft nightmare. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's talk about some of the highlights of my identity theft nightmare. When I say highlights, I just mean the most interesting, crazy parts to it. From the Secretary of State's office in Springfield, I get a letter in the mail that says that my ID number now has a hold placed on it, and I will not be able to obtain any identification through the state of Illinois moving forward because I have written 3 bouncing checks when I got identification recently. What is this? Her running out of stores or whatever she was doing and leaving the ID behind, I guess caused her to keep going back to try to get another one. And then finally it just was blocked. That whole number was dead. You couldn't use it anymore. I know she can't get any more identification. So I think I'm safe. I didn't know this, but when you're having problems in Illinois, at least back then, when you're having problems in Illinois with obtaining driver's license or whatever, just drive down to Florida. Drive down to Florida, get a driver's license, easy peasy. So she's got a Florida driver's license with my number, my name and my number, and of course her face and, statistics on there. Let me tell you what my saving grace was through this complete nightmare. Early in this debacle, probably we're maybe like a week into it. So we're like early March. My mother saw a commercial, like one of those infomercials in the middle of the night, just woke up to a commercial about the Illinois Attorney General's office and how they handle identity theft complaints. I mean, random, but not random. You know what I mean? So my mom quickly writes down this phone number. That was everything. I called, this number, talked to someone, let them know this entire thing, how, purse stolen, that was that. And then full identity completely stolen, legit, like a real ID is out there that's fraudulent. I mean, that's so crazy. So I was assigned an advocate, but she was just like, okay, Kimberly, this is what I need you to do. Every single thing that happens to you, you make sure you send it to me, you forward it to this office. Every letter that's sent to you, every account that is tampered with, keep track of everything and send me everything. Boom. I was like, okay, ma'am. When I would call certain creditors and the I remember them saying, "Well, we can't give you any information because you aren't the person that opened this account, so we're not going to be able to speak to you." But I was like, "But I don't understand. You've got this account in my name and my social security number, but you recognize I'm not the person because like my picture doesn't match the picture that you have, like from the ID, and my address doesn't match. But it's my information." That was so crazy. No, we can't give you any access to this account. It's like, okay, I'm trying to tell you it's fraud. Well, all of that stuff was just squashed when my consumer advocate got involved. And I'm so grateful for that. Another thing that I'm grateful for is that I opened up an account with LifeLock. Back then, that was like the only company that I knew that did stuff like that actually like put a freeze on your credit and kept reporting to you anything that's done. So I paid the monthly fee for that, which was great. So as this woman is going through and opening up all these fraudulent bank accounts, cell phones, cable, whatever it was, I would get alerted like probably like the next day, like within 24 hours, I would get alerted, and then I would call the company and go through all the channels, all the steps of faxing all the paperwork over, my ID. So I told you how the Citibank, just my conversation with them went completely left and horrible, and there was nothing I could do. After I sent the information about Citibank, lo and behold, I got let me see, first it was the, I think it was a phone call. First, it was a phone call from like the vice president. That's what an attorney general will do for you. So he's apologizing. So sorry that this happened to you, blah, blah, blah. We've taken steps to correct the matter. We will undo everything, put your address back to what it was, and send you your new credit card. And then I got a letter in the mail, same thing, full apology, and then like all of this paperwork about when you're a victim of identity theft. Every single creditor that got the call from the Attorney General's office or a letter from them, or I think they got both. Next thing I know, I'm getting letters. We realized we found out that this account was due to fraud. We are so sorry. Like, I'm no longer being treated like garbage and I'm no longer the criminal. Throughout this ordeal, which lasted, let me just tell you, at the end of February was when my identity was officially stolen. All of March, she's running amok. All of April, running amok. It ended mid-May. It was no, the first week of May is when it ended, this thing, this trial that I was undergoing. And in that period of time, she did a lot. Like, I talked to every company's fraud division. I feel like I talked to every single company out there practically at that time, because this girl was serious about getting accounts in my name. So many bank accounts. So many bank accounts. Why are you opening bank accounts? You know why? Because there was always these like sign-on bonuses. You get $300 if you open a checking account. This is what she was doing. I could not figure this out. Why so many bank accounts were popping up on my credit report. Yes. At Fifth Third Bank sends me a letter talking about how they could not extend me the home equity loan that I requested. A home equity loan? I was not a homeowner in 2008, but the identity thief assumed I owned my mom's home because that's where I lived. She didn't realize I lived with my mother. Like, we were like renting, a floor in my mom's house for my family. I mean, it was a great, beautiful house, all of that. But she was like, oh, cha-ching, I'm going to get a home equity loan and I'm going to rake in the cash. Yeah. It was the first week of April, first or second week of April. I mean, I don't get into car accidents, nothing like that. I'm pretty safe on the road. I did the dumbest thing where I'm trying to get into the left turning lane and there's not enough room. I'm inching, I scoot out and I'm just trying to squeeze through, but I'm kind of, my left wheels are kind of in the other lane, but there's no traffic coming yet. So I'm like, it's going to be okay. And so I'm inching along and I'm trying to stay as close to the right as I can, but I was too close. Little do I know, as I'm inching, I'm just slowly side swiping this woman's car. Scratch. We pulled over into the parking lot of like the little strip mall that we were right by, and she's losing it. Oh my gosh, you hit my car, you hit my car. I took out her tail light. I'm thinking maybe, probably. I mean, she had damage all over the car, so you don't really know what what I did and what was already there. But I'm like, I think I took out her tail light. She calls the police. The police officer comes. She's still screaming. She's so upset. And the police officer, as he's taking my information, and as soon as he looked at me, I said, "Oh no," because this is in April. Like 2 months have went by, almost 2 months have gone by with the identity theft thing. And because the Secretary of State Police had determined that it was fraud, all my information in the DMV, it all went back to what it was supposed to be. So I'm thinking everything's fine. And then he starts talking about this address, the Chicago address, and the height, the 6 feet tall. And I know you're not 6 feet tall. And I'm just like, what? And I'm shaking because I'm like, I already fixed this. After I gave him the whole story and what happened, and I'm like practically crying. And he's like, okay, let me tell you, this is the last thing that you need to deal with, this traffic, accident. He said, when this goes to court, I'm not going to show up and they'll throw it out. That's what he said. I'm not going to show up. And when the police don't show up, that's that. I was like, what? Thank you. So I hurt someone's car. This is going to be my first insurance claim that has to be filed ever in life. So I go and I call them and I file the claim, give them all the information. And then it turns out that the person whose car I hit, she had also called already. So they already were aware. It was like a couple of days later, I had to give them some information or something. And I was like, I'm calling about my claim. The lady said, "Which claim are you referring to?" And I was like, "The only claim that, the only claim that I have, Enterprise, rent a car." Let me tell that story. When she rented a car, and I actually, looking back or thinking back on it, I do believe that this whole thing was intentional. She rented a Chrysler 300, used, the credit card in my name, and crashed it, completely total it. I believe that she did this on purpose because she had my insurance card in, the wallet that she stole, and she went and filed a claim with Geico for this totaled out Chrysler. I had no idea this was going on. This happened probably at the end of March. And then she was like, "Is this for the Chrysler or the Volkswagen?" And I was like, "Wait, what?" So now I get moved over to the fraudulent claim department of Geico Insurance, which is a big deal. Insurance fraud, that's a big deal. When they came over to talk to me, they explained that yes, when there's these accidents, we cut a check, send it to you, and then you go and take care of, all the damage and stuff. But the check initially goes to you. Ooh, I was like, okay, now I get it, I guess. And then I said, that's a bad way of doing it. That's a bad way of doing things. I remember she was so determined to like meet me and talk to me to just get like a feel of my voice, where I lived, who I was, just so she can know, okay, this is the real Kim. Because she was like, I talked to the other Kimberly often because she keeps calling me, asking me when is the check going to be sent. Whoa, man, that's nuts. Yeah. So this identity thief of mine got so frustrated that she was not able to access my bank account. She kept calling day after day, after day after day, but getting thrown into the manager's voicemail because that was the little note that was left on my account. Thankfully for the manager and a few of the bank tellers just going out of their way to protect me. Thank you so much. I really did appreciate their help in this matter. So this woman who stole my identity is so frustrated. What does she do? She calls me at home. Unbelievable. And so then I was like, I'm just going to play along with you. Hello,
Hello, my speak with Kimberly.
this is Kimberly.
Hi, Kimberly. This is Detective Parker. I'm calling from the North Riverside Police Department,
Oh, yeah. Yes.
and we have in custody a woman that I think she stole your purse, and we got her here in custody, but I need to know what to charge her with. So could you just tell me what damage that she did to you, like store credit cards or like with your bank account? Could you just let me know what she did so we know what to
Oh,
charge her
yeah.
with?
No, I just don't think she really did anything. You know what? I only had $5 in my purse, and I know, like, there wasn't that much money in there. So I don't think she did anything.
Okay, so do you have a fraud alert on your social security card?
Okay. She knows I do. This is why she couldn't get store credit cards or any credit card. And I was like, what is that? Is that something I need?
Okay, no, that's not no. Okay, no. What about which? Did she mess with your bank accounts at all? Do you know?
Oh, my bank? No, I don't think so. Everything seems to be fine.
Okay, so do you have like a password? Because if you have a password on your bank accounts, just tell me what that is so we can keep it safe.
Do I need a password?
Oh, okay. No, that's okay. All right.
Okay, should I go down to the bank and maybe talk to them and see if that's something I should do?
No. Well, you go ahead and go down there. You can talk to them, and I'll call you back,
Okay, okay,
and we'll
yeah.
see. Did my number pop up on your caller ID?
Wait, caller ID? No, I don't have caller ID.
Oh, okay. How do you pronounce your last name? Is it Bonaparte?
Oh, my last name? Yeah, that's it. knew, you don't give her any information, whatever you do. And so I didn't. And so she said, "How do you pronounce your last name? Is it?" And then she pronounced it the way that she thought it should be pronounced. I said, "Yeah." That's it. That's it. Yeah.
And then where can I reach you at? What's your number?
We like to keep the phone numbers here private. We don't want people to call us here at the station. So I'll call you.
Sure. Okay, then. All right. I'll go down there and, wait to hear back from you.
Okay, okay. It's probably fine, but just go ahead and check on that. See, just see what's going on with that. Okay. All right, then I'll talk to you. I'll call you later on.
Yeah, no big deal. Thank you so much, Detective.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye bye.
And I'm just going to send you in a complete circle and make you mess up. That's all I kept thinking is if she thinks I'm stupid, she has to mess up because up until this point, we can't catch her. She's good at what she does. When she called me at home that one night, I called the police. I did not know what to do. They did a where they traced it. They like whatever, like traced the phone call and found out it was from a cell phone that was in my name. And I learned this from watching the crime dramas. The only thing that can help me now is just to get her to get too confident, too comfortable. She's going to mess up. So in May, this woman goes, she's downtown Chicago. She's just living this life, like in my name. She's doing the most. And she stays in a really nice hotel as me and was there for a couple of days. She kept falling behind in the payment for her visit. And so he called her. She was 3 days behind. And he says that she comes down to the front desk and she has like 9 debit cards. And she's just like, try this one, try this one, try this one. And so some of the cards he says were just no good. And it's like, nope, nothing that doesn't work. Okay, try this one. He did not get the full amount that was owed. He just got, I think he said like $75 or something. And she'd racked up hundreds of dollars staying in this hotel. And so then she's like, okay, I promise I'll pay you, but whatever, goes back to her room. So the guy is just like, I'm calling the police. So the detective comes in and he sees the information, he gets the rundown, and he's like, how do you pronounce this name? Cool thing was, is that the hotel manager knew exactly how to pronounce my last name because he was familiar with the origin of it, right? Key point. So he tells him, oh, it's pronounced like this. And the detective's like, good to know. And then he tells him, oh, it's, from this country. And he's like, okay, good to know. So he goes up to talk to this woman, Kimberly. And then he's like, how do you pronounce your last name? She pronounces it completely different. And he's like, okay. And so he's like, well, I'm putting you under arrest because you owe, this much money to the hotel and you're not able to pay. So I'm going to have to take you in. She just starts cursing the detective out. Right. So he gets her in cuffs, gets her in the squad car. He asks her again, how do you pronounce your last name? She says it differently from the first time he asked her. And he's just like, uh-uh. And he tells her, he's like, I don't believe that you are who you say you are. She had a driver's license from Florida in my name. That's her identification, right? When he saw that driver's license, he said all these bells were going off, red flags were just waving because, and this is what I'm like so grateful. I'm so thankful because I know literally this was totally God above maneuvering matters for me. This detective had just arrested somebody like a month ago that had a Florida's driver's license, same thing. And it was some type of felony. He booked them under his ID, the name that he gave, found out right before this call, like within a week, found out that that guy he had stolen that identity. And now the identity theft victim has that felony on his record. So this detective felt terrible. He said just from the hotel to the police station, he asked her 3 times, different times, how do you pronounce your last name? He said every single time she said it, it was different. He's like, wow. He booked her as Jane Doe. But he didn't stop there. He looked up my name, found out which suburb I live in, contacted that city's police department and said, I need you to go to this address, find this woman and tell her she has to call Detective so and so at the Chicago Police Department here. And so 2 cops showed up at my mom's house. And then that evening, Me and my husband, I grabbed, at this time, I have a file that's like this thick, full of just accounts that she tampered with, everything. I had paperwork for everything because I could send it to my advocate in Springfield. So, but the file is huge now. And I grabbed this file and off to, the north side of Chicago we go. I was like, so I have like the file that I bring to show what she had done. The officer was like, "What is that?" I said, "Oh, yeah, you wanted to know what she did. Here you go." Like, when I pulled out this giant file of everything she did, he was like, "What? What?" And he actually said, "Do you want a job at the police department?" It was so awesome. She was charged with identity theft. So amazing because all the police officers said to me, these are the crimes that just don't get prosecuted because they're too hard to catch. It's just too hard to catch these people. And, it's just, the best thing you can do is guard yourself so you don't owe any money and guard your credit so your credit's not ruined. Like that's what you can do. No, don't bank on her going to jail. I remember thinking, no, no, you have to get her. So she was arrested that day. And after that point, I turned the tables. I decided to stalk her. No joke. Like now that I have her name and I've got information on her, I've got information on like past crimes she's committed. I know what's public information in the state of Illinois. And so I was researching this girl, this woman. I found out that she had a court date coming up for a traffic court. And so that she would be transferred from where she was being held in Chicago in the Cook County Jail, that she would be transferred out to the courthouse that was actually near my house. So I decided to show up that day. I decided I'm going to go into the courtroom and look her in the face. So I did that. It was so, I don't know. It was like I wanted the power back, the control back. And so I sat there and waited for her to be called. She came out in her tan, whatever, the jumpsuit that Cook County gives you. And she looked dead at me when after she went before the judge and like she was being like ushered off. She saw me, like her eyes met mine, and I could see like her whole face like was like what, and she could not stop looking at me. Like she's trying to walk forward, but she's turned back, and the police officer was like pushing her, stop turning around, and she was just like breaking her neck to look at me, and all I could think to do was I was letting her know, like, I see you and I'm here now. Yeah, I was like, I'm going to torment you because you tormented me for like 2.5 months. Yeah, I did that. She ended up getting 3 years in jail for stealing my identity. But in Illinois, you only have to do like half that time. So she was only gone for a year and a half. But so during that year and a half, I was just cleaning up any isolated accounts. It was pretty easy to do because I had that identity theft advocate, but everything got squashed. I didn't have to pay for anything. Thankfully, my credit actually was not affected. Even if something hit my credit report, it was immediately removed, but that was rare. And that's, because of this division that was set up in Illinois, thankfully, it got worse after she got out because she's gone for a year and a half and I'm thinking I'm okay. There's no way she's going to use my information anymore because I mean, you know, she got arrested, but I guess maybe part of her wanted to get back at me. In 2010, midway, like in July, I get a phone call from that detective that put her away. And he's like, Ken, you have a problem. There's a felony in your name. Oh, brilliant. Come on. Committed armed robbery sometime in like July of 2010, something like that. This is when I found out, and gave my name. So now this was a whole other thing that was opened up. He, I have a felony in my name. And so the detective was like, this is what you need to do. Because remember, this happened to him before with, he did this to somebody. And so now he knows the steps. So he's explaining to me, you need to go down here. You need to go to the federal building. You need to do this. You need to, I mean, he's just giving me the rundown. And then he tells me she's got court on this day. You need to show up at her court date. So I did exactly what he said initially, went down to the federal building. I had to get my fingerprints put into the system so they could see that these prints don't match. it was actually like you run your prints through the system, and if you're in the criminal database anywhere in Illinois, it'll pop. Well, I wasn't, and so it didn't pop. But this woman is in custody. Her fingerprints are in the system. So anyway, that's what I had to do. My name went down and it went into the federal database as an alias. So that was something that they did that day. And then in a couple of weeks, I went to her court date, and so I could explain to the judge that she's not me. And so I went down there, and that whole thing was crazy. Like that was like it was a scene out of a movie. The court clerk was looking up my name in the Dwight Correctional Facility, which is a woman's prison in Illinois. And I heard her, she's talking out loud to someone else that works for the courts. And she's like, I can't find Kimberly such and such and Dwight at all. And it says that she's in custody. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I walk up to her. I'm sorry, excuse me, I overheard you. I just want to let you know my name is Kimberly, blah, blah, blah. I'm not in custody. The person you're looking for, her name is, and I gave her the name that I had that she went to prison on. She stole my identity, and it seems she's doing it again. She's like, oh my gosh. So she's got that information. Now court starts. Now court, is in session, and here comes Kimberly out, as a co-defendant to this armed robbery. It's like 3 people walk out, and Kimberly's very pregnant. Kimberly looks like she's 7 months. I was like, oh my gosh. While the judge is talking to her and going through the charges, his clerk just blurts out, that's not Kimberly. That's the real, like, that's the victim right there. Everybody, the entire courtroom turned and looked at me. And I just start waving. I don't know what else to do. Kasha, because that's her real name, was like, oh, not her again. Her lawyer whispers into her ear, like, dude, what's your name? And then the judge is like, what is your name? What is your real name? The felony charge was taken off of my, record. So, yep, that happened. Oh, and what's so funny is that day, Kasha's mom was there. And this is why I think me and Detective so-and-so were right, because she's sitting there with, I guess, her husband in the audience, and me and my husband are sitting behind them. And when Kasha's lawyer said, anyone here work for Kimberly? And I don't say anything because I'm still like holding all the cards close to my vest. And then this woman was like, yes, I'm Kimberly's mom. And I was like, okay, family of criminals. That's what I thought. And so then they talked. And when that was so funny, then after everything's exposed, and I'm the real Kimberly, and we know that's Kasha, I'm looking at her mom, and I do believe it was her real mom. I'm just like looking like, man, you raised your daughter to be a criminal just like you. But that's how it goes. Oh my. Okay, that was what happened. I'm so grateful it's over. Every blue moon nowadays, I have to clean something up, but it's very rare. As a matter of fact, just recently, I was sent a letter from the Secretary of State's office saying that I could not renew my driver's license because I have a Florida license that has been suspended, revoked, or something, and I need to take care of that. Those little things are super annoying because they already have this information. So it's just, a matter of me going in again with the paperwork and showing them, hey, this is fraud. The reason why I want to share this experience on my channel is because I just want to make people aware of the dangers that are out there if you are careless with your belongings, with your identification, or just with your credit in general. Something that I do support and advocate is be diligent with your credit report. At least check it every year. You do get one free credit report every year. If you want more than that, you'll have to pay for it. If you suspect that you're a victim of identity theft, it doesn't matter if you had the free credit report already, they will send you another one at no cost. But this, hopefully, you can prevent. And don't leave your purse in shopping carts or anywhere unattended. Not wise. I definitely learned my lesson there. That's my story. That happened. I still can't believe that all of that happened to me. It was just weird. It was like I could have written a book about it. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and hanging out with me again. I really do appreciate all of your support. If you have any experiences you want to share, something like it, any scares you had, or maybe you learned something in this video, who knows, whatever it is, leave it in comments. Let's chat about it. Okay, with that, I hope that I see you next time.